some reason, it's still ringing. Oh, there it goes. It's still ringing on my phone and watch. It was just like, okay.
Your computer's that fast, Joe.
Apparently, it's that alien router.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's so fast. It's in the future.
Or in the past? Oh,
No,
goodness.
it's in the future. So fast.
That's fair. That's
it's
fair.
A Einstein thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Special relativity, things going speed of light, perspectives, stuff like that.
Okay.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Meh.
Man.
One of those weeks.
Oh, yeah. I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Got anything good to talk about this today?
Brother, not really.
Neither do I. So why is Kevin Smith giving up smoking weed?
So apparently he has been smoking weed for 15 years straight.
That's it?
Yeah, so I didn't know. It started when he smoked weed. Well, he smoked weed before, but his habitual smoking of weed started during the filming of Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
So when you're saying straight, you mean like every single day?
Yes.
Smoking weed straight. Okay.
Like cigarettes, basically.
Yeah, I guess 15 years doing that is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, so basically it started with he smoked some weed with Seth Rogen on the set of Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Okay.
After that movie bombed, essentially, because it was, well, I mean, too smart for most people and also just disgusting. I really think it was ahead of its time, because if you I don't know if you can make that movie now. Well, you probably could, but if it would have been 5 or 6 years later, I think that movie would have done better.
Okay.
But anyways, that's besides the point. Anyways, so after that movie bombed, he got as he put a wounded heart, and so he decided to lean in on the weed smoking as a bandage. And as time went on, that wound got bigger, and so he started smoking weed more and more. And then his words in that article said that one day he woke up and realized he was bandaged like a mummy, and he couldn't really see, hear, or be present. So he decided to give up smoking weed. He's not leaving the weed culture behind. He is just taking a indefinite break due to the fact that he hasn't been present lately with his fans, his work, his family, things like that. So he has stopped as of the recording of the last episode of Fat Man and what does he call it?
Batman on Batman?
No, I can't remember what they call it anymore.
Would they change it?
I think so.
It's been
yeah.
a long time since I've listened to any Smodcast stuff.
Oh, Fat Man Beyond is what they call it.
Oh, nice.
And so he said on that episode he was essentially, in other words, celebrating 5 weeks sober at that point. And he told the story, and he said that he's more present and clear than he said. He's like I want you to know that I'm sober. This is the first episode I've done sober, and I'd have to say that, is this what this fucking show is? And I was like, that's pretty fucking hilarious. So that's in a nutshell.
All right, good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever helps.
And I think because he has a branded line of weed through Cavalier with Jason Mewes, and he says he's not giving that up. He's not shunning the weed community. He's just not partaking in it himself.
Right.
Because he's afraid as his the effects it could have on his brain as he gets older. And to his point, and not to like glorify it at all, but marijuana does affect people differently, or different people differently. So it could be that he just felt that he was cloudy and he needed to, to clear the skies, as some would say. And it just could be a thing where he doesn't feel he was as productive as he should have been.
Understandable. He does have a lot going on, so I would imagine that it would affect that.
Yeah.
I'm watching the Pan. What is it?
Peter Pan and Wendy
trailer that you sent.
Yeah.
A second ago. I didn't. Did we talk about this before? Because I don't remember anything about this.
Yeah, a long time ago when they first announced it, and then I went to bring it up the weekend of the Super Bowl because they did that coming in 2023 Disney thing, and they showed a clip of Peter and Wendy in that.
Okay.
But this is obviously based on Peter Pan. It is Disney, so it will be a little more family friendly. But if you haven't noticed who plays Captain Hook yet,
no, I haven't. I don't think I've seen it yet.
There's a glimpse of him early, but then they show him later on. I'll let you finish while I talk and see if you know who it is. But this one's it's stated. Actually, I can bring up the piece about it, what they said, because this is a slightly different take on the tale.
I can't see who that is. It's too dark. He came out of the shadows, and it was like, it's a weird angle, and it's a little too dark to watch such a small screen. So I didn't really catch it.
So it's Jude Law.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
Watson himself.
Yeah. So basically, so this is set to premiere on Disney Plus in April. It's one of the many projects that Disney had laid out for being streaming only, because they believe that there is. I can't find the article it was, but they were talking about it. But there's a lot of cool ideas they're doing with this, with their plan going forward, and it was all set up by Bob Iger way before, and then oddly enough kept as true as possible, as I think, what going forward ever since he stepped away and then came back. But their whole plan was to limit theatrical release to what they refer to as tentpole franchises.
Okay.
I think is what they called it. It might be a term. I might be confusing that term. Anyways, their whole plan for theatrical releases is going to be essentially blockbusters, kind of what Warner Brothers was trying to do for a long time, where like they just didn't greenlight anything they didn't think was going to be massive. Disney is doing it a little differently. They realize the Disney Plus platform is a strong platform for not just retaining their own IPs as they release for home video release, but for debuting new content that's borderline theatrical release level.
Okay.
So, not that they don't have faith in these projects, but these projects were literally set to debut on the Disney Plus platform. So these ones are going to be, there's like 4 tiers to them. There's like the super family friendly stuff, which is going to be more of like the animated things. There's going to be the early teens, young crowd ones, like the High School Musical shit like that. There's going to be this stuff, which is going to be more of a mature audience type thing, so like borderlining PG-13 essentially. But because it's on TV, it doesn't really have to have a rating like that, other than like TV 14 or whatever the fuck nonsense they put on there. And then they'll have their darker half are a part of it, and that stuff's going to be like the things. And again, these aren't just movies, it's TV shows too, but this is stuff that falls in like the Mandalorian and some of the Marvel stuff where it has violence, but is still remotely family-ish friendly. Like there's no like massive amounts of gore, there's no bad language, things like that. So that's their whole kind of like plan going forward. But also, I was trying to pull it up. So, not only does it have Jude Law in it as Captain Hook, it has other notable actors that Joe would know the name of. Would be Jim Gaffigan, actually plays Mr. Smee.
Oh, that's perfect.
Molly Parker is Miss Mary Darling. Alan Tudyk is George Darling.
That's fantastic.
There's also going to be there's some other ones they haven't fully announced just yet, but there's this particular iteration is actually based on the book, closer to the book than it is not the book. So sorry, there's a book called Disney's Peter Pan and Wendy that came out in 2015. Anyways, so that book was based on the original J.M. Barrie book Peter and Wendy that was released in 1904.
Okay.
And it was like a Disneyized version. And they also this one. Do you remember the one that came out 2015?
The one with Hugh Jackman?
Yeah.
Pan?
I think so, yeah.
I think it's called Pan.
Yeah, because there was two other versions. There's Pan and there's one other one. One had Hugh Jackman. And one had... Was it the guy who was that? I can't remember who it was now. Was it...
Because I think... I want to say I don't remember, but yeah, I think you're right. Like, two did come out at the same time. Peter Pan movies.
Can't remember who was in that one.
IMDb. Peter Pan movies. Peter Pan, Hook, Peter Pan, 2003, Finding Neverland, 2004, Pan, 2015. No, that's all lists.
Was Pan 2015?
Yeah, Pan was 2015.
Okay, I think that was the one I was thinking about.
Hugh Jackman.
Huge Jackman?
As some would call him.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
And obviously, movies like Hook were a big thing. People were thinking this was going to be that. So basically, the whole thing is this is based on the book versus the Disney original movie. So this isn't like a live action version of Peter Pan from the animated one. This one's going to have the darker tones. It's going to have death in it, which is crazy apparently. Like, that's nuts. But this one is again, I've never read the original. This is what I read a long time ago, and this could be just a different one. But originally, I guess the Lost Boys, which aren't always all boys, which is hilariously mentioned in the trailer, is they're actually kids that were rescued by Peter and Tinkerbell because their parents were about to die.
Oh, okay.
So he like essentially goes there to save them the heartbreak of like losing their parents.
It's an interesting take on that.
Yeah, it's very. Again, I don't know if that's from the book or if this is someone else's thing. I was reading an article and it got really confusing because like there's so many variations of the story that's kind of like hard to really get around. But I thought that was really fucking super dark.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't even know if like the kids know or what, but I was like, damn, that's some savage ass shit right there.
Right.
Trying to find.
I mean, it's almost like if you could play it in a certain way, very sucker punchy, you know?
Yeah.
Having your way of having your own world, making up your own world to escape the weird fucked upness that you actually exist in.
Yeah, so Pan, the one with Hugh Jackman, was a prequel to Peter and Wendy, the book.
Oh, okay.
So so Hugh Jackman actually plays Blackbeard in that movie.
Ah, okay.
And it's essentially the story of an orphaned Peter, basically being like brought. He was a baby at the time, I believe, when he was abandoned. And then some other stuff happens and blah blah blah. But yeah, it's essentially the or not essentially. It is a prequel to the book Peter and Wendy, which
So was Pan based off of a book, or was just that movie a prequel to the book?
it is it's based well no it's its own thing. It's not based on anything. It's based on the original book Peter Pan, which is the tale of Peter Pan, and then Peter and Wendy is the sequel that tells a story of that we all know as Peter Pan from the animated Disney movie.
It's really confusing.
I know, that's why I got confused the other day when I was reading all this. And that's why I don't know if the story, the article I was reading about the kids, the Lost Boys being like not being orphaned, like pre-orphaned, I guess you'd call them, was real or from something else. It was very convoluted and very confusing, and I wasn't too sure where it comes from. So I'm trying to find. So the original play was called Peter Pan or the Boy Who Wouldn't Grow Up. Then
Was it a book first, or was it just a story? That I guess I've never really delved into the lore of Peter Pan. I just always took it as like, yeah, it's a story written by somebody. Like I actually don't really know who the author was.
So he was a character developed by or created by Barry. I'm trying to find all the information. I'm gonna pull up Wikipedia so I could read. Not that Wikipedia is the end all be all fucking, but it usually has a pretty good.
I'm on it right now, and it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
So Peter Pan first appeared as a character in Barry's The Little White Bird, a novel for adults, in chapters 13 through 18, titled Peter Pan in the Kensington Gardens. Peter's a 7-day-old baby and has flown from his nursery to Kensington Gardens in London, where the fairies and birds taught him to fly. Interesting. Barry returned to the character of Peter Pan, putting him in the center of his stage play entitled Peter Pan or the Boy Who Wouldn't Grow Up. So it did start as a stage play. Premiered in 1904 in actually Duke of York's Theatre, London. Little White Bird, and published, let's see, he extracted the Peter Pan chapters, or no, Hodder and Stogue extracted the Peter Pan chapters of the Little White Bird and published them in 1906 under the title Peter Pan in Kensington Gardens. So I guess that would be the first publication of it, with the additional illustrations by Arthur Rackham. Barry later adapted and expanded the 1904 play's storyline as a novel, which was published in 1911 as Peter and Wendy.
There you
go. Okay. Because I've always wanted to go back and read some of these, like, more classic stories. Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland. I've read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but I never read the sequel to it. What was another one that I was thinking about reading? Wizard of Oz, and all of those weird sequels that it has.
Oh yeah. Jason Isaacs was the other one I was thinking of. So Peter Pan, the 2003 film. Again, so many of these. Had Jason Isaac as in it. He played Captain Hook. He played multiple characters. Because I need to look it up, and I'm not going to do it now. There was a weird thing about it because the play, I think it was the original play, the character who played Captain Hook, the actor who played Captain Hook, also played Mr. Darling, who is Wendy's dad.
Okay.
So there was a thing, psychology thing, that basically was saying that Captain Hook is the evil version, like the evil thought process of like this dad figure, like
Uh-huh.
making all these rules and stop blah blah blah, whatever. So in the 2003 movie with Jason Isaacs, he plays both Captain Hook and Mr. Darling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, an interesting take on it.
I'm trying to look up. No, that's not what I wanted. Something about his. I don't remember. There's a bunch of it. I can't remember all of it, but yeah, I can't remember where I even. I'm pretty sure I dove into like 4 subreddits and some other stuff, looking at other stuff that was talking about this stuff. But anyways, the trailer looks rad. As you probably finished it 12 minutes ago.
A while ago.
It has some pretty cool things in it. I haven't heard anybody complain yet that Tinkerbell is not white. But then again, she's a fairy, just like she's a mermaid, so it doesn't matter what color her skin is. Because technically speaking, she should have like, if we're talking about Little Mermaid, didn't she have purple skin or something in the original book
I don't remember.
or story? Anyhow, doesn't matter. People are fucking stupid.
They're stupid though. Oh, there's a space there.
Yeah, there is.
The Little Mermaid, 1837 tale. Actually, I don't even know if this will tell me.
And if you don't know the original story of Little Mermaid, it's fucked up.
Well, with most of these types of tales, it is. Isn't this is this one of those Grimm's fairy tales?
Yeah, I believe so.
Published in Fairy Tales Told for Children, first collection, third booklet. I guess it doesn't say it's not a Grimm fairy tale, but it is a Grimm fairy tale.
Yeah. As in like GRIM, not
Yes.
GRAMM.
GRIMM.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, in that one, she cuts her legs off.
Is that what she does?
To be with the princess.
I don't really remember a whole lot about this one.
To be with the prince, and like then like, but he like, I want to say he like is revolted by her and like rejects her.
I don't know. I'm slowly reading through. Consuming the portion will make her feel as if a sword is being passed through her body. Yet when she recovers, she will have 2 human legs and will be able to dance like no human has ever before. However, she will constantly feel as if she is walking on sharp knives. In addition, she will obtain a soul only if she wins the love of the prince and marries him. For then a part of his soul will flow into her. Otherwise, at the dawn of the first day, after he marries someone else, the Little Mermaid will die with a broken heart and dissolve into the sea foam upon the waves. Wow. After she agrees to the arrangement, the Little Mermaid swims up to the surface near the prince's castle, drinks a potion, blah, blah, blah. Stuff happens. Yep, plot line happens. Something about killing the prince. She throws a dagger and herself off the ship into the water just as the dawn breaks. Her body dissolves into foam, but instead of ceasing to exist, she feels the warm sun and discovers that she has turned into a luminous and ethereal earthbound spirit, a daughter of the air.
Yep,
as the Little Mermaid ascends into the atmosphere, she is greeted by other daughters who tell her she has become like them because she strove with all her heart to obtain an immortal soul. Because her selflessness, she is given the chance to earn her own soul by doing good deeds for mankind for 300 years and will one day rise up into heaven. Wow, that was a...
Yikes.
That was a twist.
Yeah. It's Hans Christian Andersen, by the way. Wrote that one.
Because it doesn't say that in Wikipedia.
That's at the very top.
Does it?
Yep.
No. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm looking. You would think that in the right side, where it's talking about the original title, the translator, the country, the language, series, games, published, publication, publisher, that you might mention that it's Hans Christian Andersen in there somewhere.
Nah.
But nah, like the quick little blurbs. No, force me to read the article. Stupid.
Yeah, Joe.
Large chunk of it. Whatever.
Yeah, Joe.
Whatever.
So yeah.
I have no idea if she's purple or not.
No, apparently not, because I don't see it in there anywhere. Maybe I made that up, or someone else had that story. I can't remember.
What else did Hans Christian Andersen write?
Dude's written a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that Disney's taken.
Just give me a list.
If you get Works is in there. You wrote a lot of shit, huh? God damn.
The Emperor's New Clothes.
Motherfucker.
The
The Ugly Duckling, yeah.
The Red Shoes. The Little Mermaid.
Dude, that guy looks like a dapper motherfucker.
Right?
Trying to see. He wrote novels too. Holy shit. God damn, that motherfucker wrote some shit, huh? Oh my god, there's so much stuff. The Most Incredible Thing, Nightingale, Princess and the Pea. He wrote The Shadow? The fuck?
The Shadow of the Shadow?
I'm trying to find out. What the hell is this thing? Oh no.
No, he didn't write the Alec Baldwin movie?
No. So, plot summary. A learned man's shadow becomes self-aware and takes on a life of its own. The shadow gains insight into the dark side of human behavior, then returns to the man and enslaves him. Fearful of being discovered, the shadow has the man killed. Jesus.
Why hasn't that been turned into anything yet?
Bro. I mean, it's weird, too, because, like, the art they show here is very reminiscent of The Shadow, because it shows a deformed, like, long-nosed, evil-looking shadow. So I wonder if that's where he got it from.
Maybe.
Probably look that up and find out, but I'm not gonna.
The Snow Queen?
Thumbelina?
Oh, he wrote Thumbelina?
Yeah.
I know that one.
There's also a lot of stuff in German that I don't know in here. Or Danish, sorry, not German, Danish, yeah.
Anyway, that's cool.
Yeah. So, anywho, yeah, the Peter Pan Wendy looks pretty neato, burrito.
And it comes out on Disney Plus. When does it come out on Disney Plus? Do we know?
April something? It said on there, and I said it earlier, but I can't remember. It was April, like, something or other. April 15th.
It was probably on the trailer, too, but I just closed it out as soon as it finished.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Did you watch Mandalorian? Yeah.
Not yet.
Neither have I.
I've been too consumed with video games lately to do much of anything else.
Like actually playing different video games, or still playing Destiny?
That and like Hogwarts and Power Wash Simulator.
I've seen that Power Wash Simulator. They added DLC that you can power wash Croft Manor.
Yeah.
Thought that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, that game is wild. I stopped playing it for a while just because of other stuff. But now I just don't care, so I'm playing it again. And they did the update, so I was like, oh, I'll check it out, whatever. It's just fun in general. Like, it's just a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
But like, this weird story is like, I have to go back and like reread some of the stuff that's going on in it, because like, dude, I just cleaned a UFO that was disguised as an RV.
Nice.
And like, I'm in, like, right now I'm in the process of cleaning a temple for like a water god.
How's that work?
Bro, it's so strange, dude. Like,
It's a water god.
so the temple's on land, and I'd have to look
Okay.
this up. Can barnacles grow outside of water?
I don't. I don't know. I don't know.
So the reason I ask is because barnacles on this. Like, one of the missions you do before, a couple before, is you clean a boat, and the boat has barnacles on it, obviously, because it's in the water, right? You clean it when it's in a dry dock. You're not cleaning it while it's in water, because that just, that's stupid. Then you get a job to clean this, like, the upper torso of this, like, aquatic looking dude. It doesn't have arms. He just has stumps and a head with the crowned thingy and all sorts of fun stuff. Anyhow, then you do some other stuff. There's like the fortune tellers thing you have to clean. Then you go and you clean the arm of an aquatic thing in the middle of the desert, and it has like web fingers and like spines on its arm, and it's just the arm. It's like from like just shy of the elbow forward, and it's pointing. It's very bizarre. And now I'm at a temple, clearly from this water god, because there's like octopuses and other stuff, and there's a statue of a dude that looks very, very similar to the statue I cleaned earlier, but he has a trident. It's very bizarre. But on one side of the building are barnacles.
Okay.
And it got me thinking, aren't barnacles like a sea creature?
They are.
Can they grow on buildings that aren't submerged?
I'm trying to read to that right now. Like, I literally Googled that, and it came up with an article or something talking about it, but it so far hasn't answered the question. Because it basically does state, like, barnacles can grow. Let's see, where is it? If you walk along the seashore, you can find barnacles on almost any solid surface that gets covered by water. On rocks, dock pillings, boats, even mussels. Mussels.
Yeah.
You can find clusters of these hard white cone-like houses. That's where barnacles live, peeking out only when the water covers them so they can filter food into their homes. This barnacle zone is the highest of the intertidal zones. So I guess it can, as long as it does get water.
But it has to be submerged though in water, not like splashed on or like sea breezed onto it, right? Like something has to be submerged for a good amount of time to be fixed.
With only that sentence, it sounds like it can be, as long as it just gets some water every once in a while. And I say every once in a while, I really probably mean just like super periodically, like the waves come in and go out, go in, go out. Because it says they're peeking out only when the water covers them so they can filter food into their homes. So it has to be fairly wet.
I thought it was very strange. But then again, this game is very strange in general. So it didn't really... I was like, well, that's weird, barnacles on a building. But it's on an island, and I think I got airdropped in by a helicopter.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's very strange because like there's this mountain or volcano that's erupting. Well, it was a mountain and then became a volcano because like, whatever. And there's like all these characters that it's weird because you never interact directly with them. It's always through text message, which is really bizarre.
Okay.
There's no like cutscenes where it shows you with other people. It's basically just first person cleaning a shit. And then when you finish a job, which is pretty cool, they show you of a time-lapse video of you cleaning, so you can see your character and it's like full garb cleaning the stuff really quickly. It's really fun. But there's this mystery about like missing cats, and like the mayor or governor is like secretly doing stuff, and then There's this spy plane that has a laser on it and anti-gravity boosters. And then just recently, I get a call from this dude saying, hey, my RV needs to be cleaned. I show up, and all of a sudden the RV transforms into a flying saucer.
Okay, that's awesome.
So then I clean it off, and it just takes off. So that's fucking weird. Yeah, so weird shit like that. It's just a very bizarre game, but it's very relaxing, and like in a way fun. There's some quirky bugs in it where like dirt gets increases that like just shouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
But then you have to try to clean it with water, and like you're trying, and you have to get like the right angles and stuff like that. Whatever, it's just dumb, stupid video game physics and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a really fun game, and I enjoy it quite a bit. And that's all that matters. And it's on Game Pass. So it's essentially free.
Yeah, so I could literally go stream it right now if I wanted to.
Yeah, and I highly recommend playing it. It's real fun. Like at first you're like, all right, this is kind of like not, I don't want to say boring, but like kind of like bland. And then like you realize stuff is happening. That's not just the cleaning of stuff. And then like text messages come through, and that's how they tell the story. And like just very, very strange in general. But then like it just gets pieced together and all this weird shit.
Cool.
Yeah.
How's Harry Potter treating you then?
It's fun, man. Like that game is one of those ones where like you can pick it up and play it, like, but like all of a sudden you don't realize you've been on for like an hour and a half.
Okay.
Because like this is one of the first, so like most open world games, well, I don't want to say most open world games, all open world games, there's no like linear progression. Does that make sense?
You basically go wherever you want.
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Is that
like
what you're getting at?
yeah, like in the for example, did you play the newest Legend of Zelda game?
I've started to play Breath of the Wild. Yes.
Okay, so Breath of the Wild is a great example of an open world game because it's an open world game. You can virtually go anywhere you want. If you get to a certain point where you're not high enough level, you will die.
Yes.
Because enemies will look at you, and then you will cease to exist. For the most part, Hogwarts doesn't have that. You can virtually go anywhere you want, whenever you want. So as soon as you get out of the only part of the game that's away from, like, for the story stuff, when you're in Hogwarts, like if you're on one of the missions that takes you away from Hogwarts, that's where you're kind of limited what you can do, like where you can go, because it's like a stage, but when you're in the main game in the open world, as soon as you get access to moving and going away from it, you can go and do whatever you want. You can walk to the farthest part of the map and back. You may not have the abilities to defend yourself when you go there. Well, defend yourself, yes, but kill them, because the enemies scale to your level. So when you run into an enemy, they're not like just, I'm gonna murder you right here. It's just you have to defend yourself well enough not to get murdered.
Okay.
So if you
might not have the spells to defend yourself well
Yep.
enough.
Yeah, so like you get Protego, which is like the default protect spell, and then you have your normal just attack, and you can kill almost anything with that until a certain point where certain enemies you have to have a certain type of spell to damage them, because their Protego is affected only by certain types of spells, and that's denoted by the color of the bubble that pops around them. So that's really the only thing that like limits you. Once you get so far in, there's those enemies. But I don't think those appear until you have that kind of spell going on.
Okay.
But you can literally, I wandered halfway through the Forbidden Forest before I realized I was going the wrong way during a mission.
Nice.
And I'm like, man, how far is this going? And then I did the little like, hey, where am I going thing? And it's like, bro, you're like 40 fathoms away from where you need to be. And I was like, I don't even know what a fathom is, but that seems like I'm far off track.
Yeah.
But then you can fast travel immediately to any of the spots you can do, And the best part is, they kind of like in this game. It's kind of refreshing, but also kind of like it feels like I chose the wrong difficulty level. But they show you like every available fast travel spot. As soon as you find it, it unlocks it, and you can fast travel back there.
Okay.
So if you bring up the map and zoom in or select an area, it shows you exactly where those points are at. So then you just have to wander that way and unlock it.
Okay.
So then you can fast travel there. So once you unlock the broom, which by the way just changes the game how you play it completely, because you can use it anywhere outside of a building, outside of Hogsmeade. It tells you can't enter because of a protection spell, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
So when you fly up to it, it just stops you from going in. You just land, and you can walk right in. Like, it doesn't like load. It just loads seamlessly. It's pretty rad. But once you have that, you can just. I flew to the top of a mountain, and I was like, "There's nothing to do up here, but I'm here. So look at this view." So like once you have that, like you're on foot. Your character never has to sleep. You just you walk around, and you're just literally walking day and night cycles through this whole game, because it has a day and night cycle it runs through.
Uh-huh.
And during the nighttime, there's like nobody out except for like bad people. Like shops are closed for the most part. Like if you go to Hogsmeade, they're open, but they're not. Like some of them are like locked at night or whatever.
Okay.
But like they don't seem to be like. I think those are more like mission based locks versus like, because I've walked into like the potions dude, like what seems to be like 3 a.m. in the morning, and he's like, "What up, chum?" And I was like, "Hey, I'm here to buy ingredients." But when you start certain missions, when you go to do a mission or story quest, you get to the little spot where it has a little ring, and you activate it, and it just says wait. So you hit the button, and your character essentially goes to sleep on the spot, and then you wake up in that exact same spot in the middle of the day, which just tells me nobody pays attention to shit Hogwarts, because like, why is this kid sleeping in the middle of the classroom, and everyone walks by him and starts just running their own day as normal, and this kid just wakes up and starts his adventure like he's just asleep and dressed like a lunatic, because as you go through, you progressively get newer sets, newer items, and they never match. You can make them look matching if you want, but it just got tiring after a while because you got so many that just slowly upgrade. I'm sure at the end game it's going to be a little less of that, but like for a long time, I actually think still no, I got rid of those. For a while, I was walking around with 3D cat glasses.
Okay.
It looked like if anyone like would see this, like everyone's dressed like normal, and then you see this psychopath wearing a fucking brimmed hat with the ear flappy things, and like cat glasses with like a purple coat and like a green scarf and wild boots, and I was like, dude, I look like a lunatic, but nobody seems to care, so that's dope. But you just wake up in the middle of the floor and the classroom that you're going to go to the class in, and no one bats an eye.
That reminds me of a book that I read a while ago. I think it was called Mog's World. I think I've talked about it before. Written by a guy named Ben Yahtzee Croshaw. If you don't know who that is, he does the zero punctuation stuff on YouTube.
Oh yeah, okay.
Reviews. I'm actually reading one of his books right now called "Will Save the Galaxy for Food."
Nice.
Anyway, Mog's World takes place in like a world of, more of a World of Warcraft type game. One of the NPCs, well, all the NPCs are kind of like conscious, but they all know that they need to go do the certain things that they need to go do. And when they interact with the players, because you're the main character is. There's a whole story, like he was training to be like a wizard, if I recall right. Then he gets killed, and then resurrected as an undead. It's a whole funny story within there, but yeah, he's like you would interact. He's like you would interact with the actual players, and they're just walking around doing stupid stuff and looking dumb, but they're treated as heroes in this world. They'll just stop in the middle of nowhere and just stand there slack jawed for the longest time, and NPCs would just be like, "What's going on with him? He's weird." Just ignore him. Just ignore him. Just keep walking. It's funny. You should really read it.
I might just check them out. Yeah.
But yeah, your description of that just reminded me of that.
Yeah, because you're walking around. Once you like, you start to unlock the other spells, you get access to puzzles throughout and things you have to unlock throughout the castle and the world. And one of the things you have to do is you have to light these dragon furnace, like these dragon altars, but you have to light them with a fire spell.
Okay.
Right? So you get one, and you just shoot a little thing of fire out of your fucking wand, and it lights stuff on fire. Later, as you progress and you upgrade that, when you cast that, it shoots an area effect of a fire ring around you.
Okay.
So you're in the middle of the castle with kids walking around, and you're like, oh, here's one of those dragon things. Light it on fire. Fire erupts from around you. And nobody bats an eye. No one's like, oh, what the fuck's this kid doing? Nah, they're just like walking through like, aha. I'm like,
there goes the main character again being weird.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Yeah, it's just weird because I'm like, middle of the night, I'm fucking shooting fireballs through the castle. Ain't getting in trouble. I'm like, I said this to I think I said this to you and Adam. I honestly believe Hogwarts Legacy is telling the tale of why Hogwarts has so many fucking rules later on when Harry goes there.
Yeah, because you're just wreaking havoc through everything.
Bro, just lighting shit on fire, roaming wherever you want, whenever you want. Nobody stops you. Eventually, you get lock-picking skills, so you like start breaking into stuff that's locked. Mm-hmm. You're sneaking into the forbidden forest. You're breaking into the restricted area, the library, whenever you fucking want. Like, you're shooting off magical spells in the middle of the fucking castle, which is funny that, like, I don't know if you know too much about the story.
Not really, no.
So
I know a little bit about something about a goblin uprising or something like that.
Yeah, so basically, it all stems from like a throwaway line in the book / movies about the goblin uprising that happened. And so that's what this is essentially based around. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much J.K. wrote about this in other things. I've read all of the books except for the one that's the play they did.
Okay.
But it's just more of it's just a history point at that point. Like it's just like in Fantastic Beasts, they talk about the wizards fighting in the war and stuff. And you're like,
right?
Can we get that? Can I get that in a book? Anyhow,
right.
So you start off as a 5-year first or new student in a 5-year class. So like you didn't go to Hogwarts for the first 4 years.
You're a transfer student essentially.
Yeah, you're transferring, and you've never had, and they don't explain why. You've never had structured magic training up until the point where you get basically told that you're a wizard. And so you get a mentor who's a teacher at Hogwarts, who teaches you off camera, as they say, before you start your basic spells that you have. So Protego and the fucking normal just shooty stuff out of your wand thing. You're using a borrowed wand. So it's not always as powerful as it should be because it's not your wand.
Have you gotten your wand yet?
Yeah, it's one of the very first things you do once you kind of go through the basics of it.
Did it end up being? Did you go through wand selection on HarryPotter.com?
I did. Yeah, it is exact same wand I have.
Same wand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because once you link your accounts, it pulls that information across, and you actually get a choice. You can resort yourself with a sorting hat if you want, which I did not do because I don't want to end up in Slytherin like I will. Which I think is actually a pretty cool thing because, all right, so side note before I continue on with the other two things I was talking about. One of the cool things that I kind of am disappointed in myself in is the fact that I didn't choose a different house. And the reason why is because you do spend time in the common rooms.
Yes.
So which means you would get to see the Ravenclaw or the Hufflepuff. Like you've seen a little bit of the Slytherin from the movies. You've obviously seen a bunch of the Gryffindor one from the movies. And for the most part, it's almost exactly the same setup. But they add in different things for the game, and more of a descriptions of what the book has in it. But it's the reason I'm disappointed is I could have experienced what it would be like to be in the other houses, because then you would
be interesting to go back through at least some of those parts of the game to do that. Not only because of stuff like that, but I know for a fact, like in the Slytherin common room, there's an Easter egg in there that there's a chance that if you try and walk into the girls section of it, if you're a guy,
Mm-hmm.
that a basilisk will appear.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
So from what I've seen, there's like, and I don't know how the rest of the common rooms are, but if you try and walk into the girls' common room as a guy, the stairs become a slide.
Yep.
You slide backwards, and there's a chance that you'll see a basilisk just go whipping by through the halls there.
I would try that all the time until I saw it.
On top of that, certain missions, as I have found out, play out differently based on what house you're in. I don't know the mission that it was, but like my brother, I think is Hufflepuff is what he's playing through. There's a certain mission that, at a certain point, depending on which house you're sorted into, is dependent on where the story goes. So, as a Hufflepuff, Adam ended up in Azkaban prison to investigate some sort of killing.
Holy shit.
But Hufflepuffs are the only one that'll be able to do that mission.
Oh, that's some replay value right there.
In Azkaban. So if you played as something else, you'll end up somewhere else doing something else. So there is actually some replayability if you choose different houses.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like in the go back to the story portion of it. So you were brought in, everyone's kind of like oh my god, like a new student coming in as a 5-year, and the reason they do that is so you're at the age where you're able to use magic, not just inside Hogwarts, but like outside of Hogwarts without being like arrested. So that's kind of how they get around it. But also, I think you're at the age where like, because a 5th year should be essentially like an 18-year-old, right? In the Hogwarts world.
I think so.
Because like a 5th year is technically like would be your freshman year in college.
Sure.
But like this is like over in England, so I'm not too sure if they correlate the same way. Anyhow, so you're at the age of where you can travel on your own and whatever, but you can use spells outside of Hogwarts because they track that shit or whatever. But anyway, so you're kind of like you're thrown into this world, and really the mystery starts like right away because you're traveling via coach, and you are with someone from the ministry and this teacher, and you get attacked by a dragon, which is awesome, but also terrifying. Right. And then the dude gets murdered in front of you. He gets eaten by the dragon, which I think is not true. I think it's a misdirect.
Gotcha. That's where we're going with this.
Yep. But we don't know yet. And then you have to make a pit stop at basically you have to make, you're on your way, and there's this locket you have. It was a locket I think it's a locket, and it has this magic glowing on it. You can see it because you have an ability to see ancient magic. Okay. And so you're like, it's glowing. They're like, what do you mean? There's a glow to it. And that's when the dragon attacks. And as you're free falling from the carriage that just got bit in half, you skydive towards the locket. When you grab it with your teacher, it ends up being a port key, and it brings them to a restricted area only by invite of Gringotts.
Okay.
And that's kind of where they start progressing the story about the Goblin Uprising, and you meet the bad guy, blah, 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 and then like this goes wild from there. And they teach you, that's how they teach you combat in there. All that fun stuff is the tutorial, which is a really cool way of doing tutorial because it kind of throws you in on it, but vice versa. So that's basically where it starts with the story and how you're a first year that's actually in the 5th year or you're a first-time Hogwarts student at a 5th year. You meet another transfer student that's very similar, but she's transferred from the magic school in another country. Little things like that. And then you progress through and find the story and you unlock blah, blah, blah. But what I was saying is earlier about the open world, to get back on point, is a lot of open world games will limit where you can go. Like you can't go here because of this, right? You can't go here because of this. In this, you literally you open the map and there's not like a restricted area. You can just walk to wherever you need to go. So like if you want to walk to like that village that's marked on the map in the far northeast corner, you can do it. It's just going to take you a while because you have to walk there or run there and go through.
Right.
But you can, as soon as you have access to leave the castle through the story gating, you can do it. You can wander the halls as much as you want, day, night, doesn't matter. You can Expelliarmus, whatever the fuck you feel like it. It doesn't affect students. Like, it just goes right through them. So you can't, like, be a villain and start murdering motherfuckers with fucking the curses and shit. But when you're in the open world, you run into side missions that some of them you can't do because you don't have a spell that affects whatever it needs to be done. You find all these weird hidden areas where you have to like solve a puzzle to open a door to get in. You run into NPCs that have to do with the story, and they're just there, and you can do whatever. Like I fought a bunch of goblins before I had like almost any spells really, and I beat the shit out of them little bastards. And little things like that is just you can like I didn't realize it, but like I thought I was like trying to progress the story that way. Then I realized when I looked at the thing, it's like, no, bro, you just have to take this one class, and then you can go further in the story. And I was like, oh, I have spent like 30 hours not doing anything else.
Well, you're leveling up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure I leveled up higher than I needed to be because like when you get to a certain part of the story, you unlock your traits abilities, which is basically ability to add experience points to leveling up your spells and other things. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to go in at like level 5 or 6. I went in at level 16.
Damn.
So I had 16 points to spend right away, which was really nice because I unlocked a lot of very nice upgrades.
I'm sure.
And the thing about it is, in that, it's progressed like level locked, so you can only get certain upgrades when you get to a certain level. I could get them to the 2nd to 3rd level because I was already 16.
Damn.
So there's the basic ones where like, oh, once you get to level 7, you can get these ones. I was like, well, I'm level 16. Got. Okay. So that's pretty cool. They don't like stop you from doing things. Like you can essentially keep finding side missions without having to do story missions. And the other cool thing is you actually have to do certain side missions to unlock story missions.
Okay.
And it's not like I hate the fact that I do this. It's just them showing you how the world works, like the video game world. So it's not like, oh, I can't believe I have to do this every single time. It's literally like the story mission says, hey, go talk to so-and-so about this and do this, and that basically unlocks you to go forward in the story. But you find there's so much to do and fucking find and experience. Like I started wandering, and then like I was like, where the fuck am I? I'm like, it's gonna take me so long to get back to the castle. Oh no, it's not. Open the map, fast travel back at the castle.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty rad.
Sounds like it. Eventually, I'll probably get around to playing it.
Yeah, it's a good time, man. If it goes on sale, I highly recommend jumping on it and buying it.
On sale or maybe on Game Pass one day.
Oh yeah, if it was on Game Pass, for sure, dog. For sure. For sure.
Oh, show.
I think that's all I have.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Hey, did you know Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't film a single scene with his Batman and Robin co-stars?
No, but thinking about it, it makes sense because I don't think there is a single scene where...
No.
Well, I mean, yeah, there is scenes where Freeze and obviously Batman are together, but it could have been filmed in such a way that he used a stunt double.
Yep, they used stunt doubles in the suit to do it, and they're always shots from behind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is there a reason why?
Money and time.
Okay, so I guess you just couldn't have them both. There was no time to do them both on the screen at the same time.
Yep. Yeah. So
the movie is just garbage anyway, so it just adds to it.
Yeah, it's just fucking completely utter trash. And this article tries to defend it, and I'm like, there's no defending that movie.
There's no defending that, because that's the same thing they did with Blade 3, because fucking Wesley Snipes was being all butthurt about stuff, and it just ruins the movie when the actual actor can't be bothered to be. And obviously, I'm not saying Schwarzenegger couldn't be bothered to be in the scenes. Obviously, he said there was some scheduling conflicts there, but that when you're filming like that, it just ruins the movie. Anyway, all right.
So yeah, that's all I have. I guess we'll wrap it up for this week. This has been Comes Naturally, I think is what I usually say. We have been
Joe.
I have been Cody, and as usual, you fuckers just came naturally.